Hey, Liz.
Yeah?
Want to run out for a little treat?
Absolutely.
Great. Because right now, Tim Hortons has this deal. A small hot chocolate or French vanilla is just 99 cents.
Wow. All right, how about this? When you're ready to go, shoot me a text. That was fast.
Let's go.
Better hurry. This sweet deal is not going to last. Right now, treat yourself to a small hot chocolate or French vanilla at Tim Hortons for just 99 cents. Great quality at a great value. It's all good at Tim Hortons. Limited time only at participating restaurants.
The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.
Wrestling to the Max NXT Review.
I'm taking back what's mine, I ain't giving in to what they tell me. Nah, I ain't listening. Can't deny I was made for this. Shove it back in the faces and say
Welcome all to another great episode of Wrestling to the Max's NXT review for February 14th, 2018. That's right, this NXT is full of love. Yeah, here we are, and of course, I know. I'm Gary Vaughn, the most corny guy you can find, along with my good buddy and your host tonight, Paul Leeser.
They brought me on just to laugh at these corny jokes, Gary, because I do every time.
I know. See, I feel so good when I do podcasts with you, Paul, because you laugh at my, every crappy thing I come up, and then my wife goes, "God, how can he stand you?" It's just polite laugh, I'm sure, but I just kidded myself. No, I mean, it's kind of funny. I really did think about it for now when we did this show, is the NXT was on Valentine's Day, and I did actually watch it on Valentine's Day. I actually did watch it later that night, so either that screams my love life is not wonderful, or the fact that I just took time out of it. I don't know which is better. I don't know. I actually, I don't know.
It's because Pete Dunne is love, Gary. That's why.
Yeah. Well, I'll be honest with you. Pete Dunne sets the mood for me. So,
yeah. I tell you, nothing like an angry Brit to set the mood on Valentine's Day.
Exactly. Hey, so, I mean, there you go. So, see, that's what it was. Sometimes you got to watch NXT, get you going, and then you're like, hey, let's go.
Let's go.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just people listening to this right now said, you actually watch NXT on Valentine's Day? Oh, I'm so sorry. Let's be honest, people. My wife is pregnant right now, so she's got a lot more on her plate than worrying about me. So,
yeah, walking for 3. That's a big deal.
Yeah. Oh man. And like the doctor told me, it's your fault. So I get it. So anyway, well, hey, before we sit here and chat all night, I'm just going to let everybody know W2Mnet.com is the place where you go find this podcast and all your other great review shows, plus the Wrestling to the Max episodes we do every week, twice a week. Don't forget about those. And hey, don't forget to go subscribe, rate, and review over at Wrestling to the Max or the W2M Network, whichever one you choose. Go hit that subscribe button, please, because that gets you everything we do in one nice place. And of course, when you rate and review, that gives us some props and also lets us know your feedback. And hey, once again, like I always say every week, 411mania.com and LastRunProWrestling.com are our partners in crime. So go give them some love as well. Let's get this thing started. Let's talk some NXT, Paul.
Let's dive right in, and of course, NXT being who they are, and it being Valentine's Day, they know what you came to see. They know what love is. Love is Pete Dunne, as I said, and he's defending that UK title against Roderick Strong in the opener, 16 and a half minutes or so. Dunne, of course, ends up hitting the bitter end to retain. Roderick Strong puts up a ginormous fight against this guy. I loved this match top to bottom. This was so good. And just the amount of the hits these guys were laying on each other was terrific.
It didn't go anything less than I wanted it to be. Mm-hmm. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, I think that when you see this matchup on paper, you're thinking, oh, it's going to be wonderful. Lots of great technical wrestling, hard-hitting action, everything that you want out of a match. They really gave it to you. And, I think that he's just one of those matchups that really, honestly, I think you could say it's a takeover match. Mm-hmm. Now, this one per se was very good. I wouldn't say it's takeover quality because I don't think they intended it to be. So I think, if down the line, if they ever did want to do this on a takeover, I can only imagine how great it could be. But like you said, once again, they put on such a great performance here. And I love that we get a chance to see some of these UK guys now here in NXT. I think it means a lot. It gives them a little bit more, face time with the American audience, which is very important in my opinion. And I love Pete Dunne just in general. So very glad to see him on my TV screen. And Roderick Strong losing this match, Paul. It wasn't for the fact that he was bad, for the fact that he didn't earn it, because honestly, he very much put in a great effort and probably should have earned a victory here. But that puts him in a new place now. And that new place is, where am I going? And it also brings up a lot of questions. And we actually, if you check out WWE.com, you see him actually in a post-match interview talking about his upset and anger towards losing.
I'd be mad too. After this match, you got to go out, you got to find a hand doctor because Pete Dunne probably broke something in there. With how much he was beating the shit out of it. You don't got a champion's purse to help you pay for that. You got the loser's purse, and that ain't gonna get you to a good hand doctor, Gary.
No, that's just gonna get you at the guy behind the gas station. So he's like, "Give me your finger, I'll fix it." Yeah. Honestly, you're right. And the one thing that you got to love about this performance is the fact that, really both guys do come out looking strong. Mm-hmm. I really understand the fact that we can't get too in depth with Pete Dunne because why? This is not something we're on a weekly basis getting a chance to see him defend the UK title. So I don't, really worry too much about that. But I am so excited to see where they take Roderick Strong. I don't know about you, Paul. He's such a great performer. He's still learning a little bit about the charisma. He's never been, the kind of guy that really sells that well.
His microphone work has come miles from where he started. To his ROH title reign, to his later work in ROH, to Evolve, to basically where he is now. And it's been a lot of slow progress, but he used to be so bad, Gary. I had to try to go find some of his older promo work, because it is not good at all.
Yeah.
As far as where you go with him, I don't we talk about this pretty often on this show. The top of NXT is just so stacked. And it helps now, I think, that they've sort of opened up Pete and the UK Championship to defending against some of the more top-tier guys in NXT, like a Roderick Strong, or like a Johnny Gargano, or, if they happen to go this route again with somebody else, like, say, like a No Way Jose for whatever reason or something. These guys who have a name in this brand can also challenge for this, seemingly. So, and Pete Dunne gets the best out of him every time. I honest to God, I really like Pete Dunne sort of as a part-timer, and I know we rag on him so much, but he comes in, he looks phenomenal every single time. He puts on some of the best matches going on in WWE today, and in wrestling in general, and I think we talk about this pretty often, too. Every time he shows up on a show, he gets this huge pop, this huge superstar-like pop that everybody's, basically is paying to see this guy. So if WWE ever does decide to bring him in more often, or when he finally signs on the dotted line for an actual contract to go up to the main roster, or however this is going to work out for him, I think he's a made man already. I don't have a problem saying that now. I think he's one of the top 5 wrestlers in the entire world to me.
Yeah, that's high praise. It really, really is. And, there's a lot of guys out there that really could earn those top, in that top 5. But, I'm not far from you. I'd probably have to evaluate it, sit here, and take it too long. But I think he's definitely in that top tier. And I love Pete Dunne, too. And I hope, when eventually he does sign on the dotted line with WWE, it's, with the actual American roster, not just, going to staying in the UK primarily. I think it's going to be a situation where you're right. He's going to be a guy that people pay attention to. He's going to be very much like William Regal, if you ask me. William Regal got a huge fan following coming to the States, and from WCW to WWF to WB, I think it mattered so much, and he still matters to this day. And I think Pete Dunne's on that path, and he's still so young, Paul. My God.
Yeah, I mean he's got a huge upside still, and to be as good as he is right now, I think he's at 25. I think at this point, it's insane. It's just absolutely insane how good this guy is.
Agreed.
But I mean, me and Gary could probably sit here and talk about these two guys all night, but there's a lot of shows still left to cover. We get some highlights of the Gargano-Almas angle that, of course, led to Gargano putting his career on the line for another shot at the NXT title. We learned Velveteen Dream is going to face No Way Jose next week during some promo time that he gets, and then runs down Tyler Bate as well some there, so probably another big matchup in line for Dream now. And then we go to Aleister Black, who is basically putting over his path so far. You know, he's been pushed to the limit by a couple of guys. He's beat a lot of people up, and he sort of talks about the duality sort of who he is, of having, you know, the angel and demon sort of sitting on both of his shoulders. And to him, that demon that's driving him is the NXT Championship. And, of course, he has that big match coming up in, I would assume, New Orleans. Of course, this gets interrupted by Killian Dane. Dane believes that he is the one who is the devil on Aleister Black's shoulder, and he's not going to stop until he gets the NXT Championship around his waist either. Eventually, this sort of sets up into them. It doesn't really come to blows, but you have to assume a match coming down the line for these guys is in our near future.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And before I even really jump into that, I do want to mention really quickly the Velveteen Dream stuff. I think it's very interesting that they're going to go ahead and have him face No Way Jose. The reason I say that is because No Way Jose is coming back on, pretty short little, run here. It hasn't been very long since he's coming back for injury. So it's kind of funny that they're bringing him along, and then all of a sudden he's going to hit stride, and then all of a sudden hit the guy Velveteen Dream, who has become something that has been very special as well in NXT. So these two locomotives aiming at each other, I'm really kind of curious how that thing's going to shake out. And then you also look at the fact that, you already have Velveteen Dream calling out Tyler Bate. That could also be something we see in that episode of NXT. Tyler Bate may be kind of getting involved a little bit. Who knows? So let's find out about that stuff. But I like the whole thing around that. I think it's kind of interesting. Makes you think. So
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this whole thing with Aleister Black and, Killian Dane, these two guys are really fan favorites of mine. I think a lot of NXT fans really like these guys. They're excited about what they're going to do in the future. And the one thing I'll say is both these guys are not particularly the guys that I would think would be microphone guys. I'm just going to straight out say it, Paul. Mm-hmm. I look at these guys more as, you look at them, you should be scared. They're really not having to talk a whole lot to put into words what they want just by the look. So I think it's kind of funny because you do have both these guys coming out and talking, which they don't usually do a lot. And I think it actually didn't go so bad. I kind of felt like it really felt right. I felt like both guys made their points very well known and sold it pretty well. I got to give them credit. They don't usually do the mic stuff. So really happy with it, and still kind of something I have to get used to hearing Killian Dane talk. I just don't hear him at all ever. So
yeah, he usually gets to be the big scary guy in the background for Sanity, and I haven't seen a whole lot of his promo work, so I can't really form a huge opinion on him. But I thought he was fine here. This is a guy who has been a champion for a lot of different promotions, so I'm sure he can at least hold his own. Aleister Black is somebody, Tommy End, whatever you want to call him, he's come a very long way. I've got to see some of his early promo work, his middle promo work. I think his stuff, once he finally figured out this whole sort of gimmick he was working toward before he got signed with WWE, was some of his best stuff. And he kind of gets to do a little bit of that to a degree in this. Obviously, he was a bit more driven by some darker factors outside of the WWE that sort of... I don't think they would be comfortable airing. So
yeah, yeah, it's like reading the Walking Dead comic books and watching a TV show. There's only so much they can put on TV, right?
Exactly.
So yeah, it's Aleister Black though. Even despite he can't use all that stuff from the indies, I think he's still doing a great job of kind of freaking people out to an extent. And to bring the point which you were talking about with these two guys, I think it's kind of cool to see these guys come out there and really start to kind of, I guess you would say, light the flame to this feud, whatever it's going to be, even if it's short term. I'm excited because I know both these guys can go. I think they can tell a really good story because, once again, Killian Dane is a monster. And for him to get in the ring with a guy like Aleister Black, it's going to be full of excitement, if you ask me.
Yeah, I mean, it's two guys who NXT has been very well protecting, making sure they look strong every chance they get. So having them butt heads is going to be interesting on that front, just to see who loses. I would assume it's going to be Dane, but I mean, you never really know, right? Especially around NXT, stuff happens all the time you don't really expect.
Very true. And even if Killian Dane wins, I think the NXT audience feel still happy. I know Aleister Black looks like he's on that NXT Championship run pretty soon here. But, if Killian Dane wins, I'm not going to go home crying. I love Killian Dane. So
yeah, he's a super talented guy. So moving along, TM61 takes on John Skyler and Andrew Duntworth here. And it's basically a squash. 2 minutes or so. Greetings from Thunder Valley. All she wrote, TM61 continuing their momentum going forward.
Yeah, and I don't want to be rude. These guys are awesome. Why I don't want to be rude is because all I'm going to say is they're on a good journey. Congrats. Keep going. Because really, what are you going to say? I mean, this is basically a little bit of a slow burn. They're kind of leading their way until they get into their big feud down the line. So good job on them.
Yeah, especially with the tag teams, you still got Authors of Pain around. You still got Sanity and Undisputed Era having their little beef with each other. So letting these guys slow burn for a little bit is very helpful, I feel like. So
it is very helpful. I just feel so rude not giving them their due. Like sitting here talking about them for 5 minutes, but there's not much to say right now. So
yeah, it's just a squash match. Main event, NXT Women's Championship up for grabs. Ember Moon defending against Shayna Baszler once again. Ember's shoulder is, of course, still taped up from Baszler's basically murdering of that shoulder at NXT TakeOver Philly. This is pretty short. This is more angle than match here. So you end up having Baszler continuing to work over Moon's injury. Not really like excessively trying to go for the win. Moon, of course, tries to stay game, but it just wasn't meant to be. Kairi Sane ends up coming out at the end as Baszler has Ember's arm draped across a barricade and starts pulling on it like she's going to try to separate it from her entire being before Kairi comes out and makes the save. So you have some of that going on here, and then the post-match, Kairi and Shayna sort of start coming to blows. Of course, this isn't really all finished, seems like, from the Mae Young Classic. Baszler ends up having to beat a hasty retreat, and then Kairi checks on her fallen, I guess, friend. Friend of, or an enemy of my enemy is my friend sort of deal, I guess, going on here.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, but that's exactly the way it is, because it wasn't, too long ago that we saw Kairi Sane kind of saying, hey, I'm coming for that title. So, I think this is really smart. I think what you got here is you get a rematch that makes all the sense in the world. Shayna Baszler did deserve it. She got her opportunity to get back in there and try to get that title. But the story they're telling here, I feel like it just makes sense, because you want Shayna Baszler to come out looking strong, but you're not exactly going to give her that NXT Women's Championship just yet. And not only that, Ember Moon and what they're doing here is good. I feel like this is just making her look so strong. It really, really is. She's able to overcome all that strong offense from Shayna Baszler. And then you add Kairi Sane in, someone who really, honestly, has a lot of great potential herself. And I think it also kind of gives us an opportunity to make, and maybe in the future, a triple threat match or something in the works, something like that, which I think, kind of helps the whole thing of, hey, let's protect these gals. Let's not make anybody look too weak. And if there's a winner, it's because, there's multiple people involved.
Yeah, that very well could be a way to go. With Ember sort of selling the injury, I think you might shoulder this feud off to Kairi and Shayna and let them sort of try to work out whatever aggression they still have with each other post, Mae Young Classic. Because, Shayna, she came into NXT, she already lost a match, right? She lost to Kairi Sane. she has that blemish there. Why not try to avenge that before going for the title? Which, I mean, they both have staked a claim for, too, so it could end up being a number one contenders match going down the stretch, and that leads us to the next takeover for WrestleMania weekend. But who knows? It could very well be a triple threat, too.
Yeah, I mean, there's multiple ways they can go about it. You're right. And the one thing that I look at this and really interesting, Paul, is the fact that they've got, right now at this moment, those three, and you could probably argue some more, that really could be deserving and that could hold that NXT Women's Championship up and really do a good job of it, right? Because the people we're talking about here, Shayna Baszler's young in her career, but right now the hype behind her is huge.
Right.
And you would say the same for the other two. I think that they would hold the title well, whoever did hold it. And I think Ember Moon's doing a good job at the moment. So let's see. I think, once again, a good path on this journey.
Yeah, and let's not forget about the iconic duo here, too, because God, I'd love to see one of them win the title. I really would.
God, I'd just like to see them on TV again.
Oh, that'd be great, too. That'd be great, too. Sadly, we'll have to wait and see if they show up on next week's edition of NXT, because this one is over.
Yeah, that's right. And, sadly it is, but that's your NXT. And, of course, we'll have another great NXT review next week. I can't wait to talk about that one. That's going to be a lot of fun, too. And we're going to have some big things coming your way. Don't worry. Of course, don't also forget that, hey, W2Mnet.com will show you all of our great podcasts when it comes to the world of wrestling. Plus, you can go back and check out some old episodes of ours. Maybe you missed last week's show. Maybe you want to go check out all the other things we've done in the past. Just go to W2Mnet.com. That gives you everything that we have to offer. Lots of other great podcasts on there when it comes to the world of wrestling and sports, entertainment, and, of course, video games. Trust me, go check out that site. Also, don't forget to go subscribe, rate, and review over at Wrestling to the Max or the W2M Network, whichever one you choose. Hey, it'll help you, and, of course, you'll do us a favor by rating and reviewing the show. And make sure you give our friends over at 411mania.com and Last Word on ProWrestling.com some love as well. They do a great job on their articles and everything that they have to offer, so we want to make sure we give them a shout-out as well. Well, I am Gary Vaughn, and he is Paul Leeser, and we'll see you guys over at Wrestling to the Max, episode 286, part 2. Until then, peace.
Have a good one, guys.
The previous podcast is a W2Mnet.com original podcast. For more great content like this, go to W2Mnet.com for the worlds of wrestling, video games, entertainment, and sports.
The best thing about the new $1 sausage and cheese muffin at Tim Hortons is the savory sausage. Ooh, and the cheese. Oh, and the toasty English muffin. Those are the three best things about it. Oh, and that it's prepared to order. You order one and they prepare it for you. That's the single best thing about it. And that it's $1. Grab a savory sausage and cheese English muffin breakfast sandwich at Tim Hortons right now for just $1. Great quality at a great value. It's all good at Tim Hortons. $1 sausage and cheese English muffin sandwich. No substitutions. Limited time only. Participation varies.